Hi guys, Christian here for week 2 of season 8 of the GPC this time. So, let's just hop right into it instead of me rambling on for like 12 minutes like I did last time. So, this week, coming off of our great and impressive week 1 win, this week we're going against a Vader. And his team is, again, very threatening per usual, because all these teams are great. So, as usual, again, team will show up somewhere on the screen. So, his team is Megalopony, Azumarill, Zapdos, Ferrothorn, Heracross, Dragolge, Umbreon, Type Null, Delphox, Palossand, Vanillix, and Wartortle. Yeah, full roster. So, the first thing I realized that a lot of threats, and what I learned from last game is that I don't like ice types. I don't like ice types at all. Or electric types for that matter too. So, looking at his team, I realized that there was a pretty good amount of like ground weaknesses in there, and I kind of expected more of a stally team with sweeping capabilities for Lopunny, Azumarill, and of course my arch nemesis in the draft format, Zapdos, or one of the couple, ranking up there with Zapdos and Electros. It's an electric type then, I guess. So, I kind of thought he'd bring Megalopony, Azumarill, Zapdos, so like the top, maybe even Ferrothorn to get up rocks, so maybe those top 4, and then something sprinkled in with like Umbreon or Delphox even, or maybe Heracross, a sweeping Heracross. So there were a couple options I kind of thought of, but I had a core idea of what he would bring. So let's just hop into it. So the first thing we have here is kind of standardized Crobat, Black Sludge, Brave Bird U-Turn, Roost Defog, and a little bit of bulk on HP and defense, and speed with a little bit of attack, so Brave Bird can actually do damage. Excuse me. My thing with this was I wanted to not have spikes and rocks up, set up by Ferrothorn, and the slew of other things that get hazard setup. And I just want it gone, because not much I have a decent amount of hazard removal, but I just wanted something that could deal damage, be fast, and just be able to do whatever I wanted. So, with the speed investment, I think I just did a little bit of speed just to put it out. I know I did 338 for some reason. I think it was for something scarfed. That's all I can remember. And that's really bad of me that I can't remember what it was for. I know I just didn't throw in speed just for the funsies of it. But the goal of this was just to bulk some physical hits, mostly from Lopunny, Azumarill, the fun stuff, Heracross, and then just be able to pivot out of there or just slap it with a Brave Bird. Pretty simplistic. Next up we have Mega Altaria. The Cleric kind of with Heal Bell, Roost, and then Flamethrower, Moonblast. With max defense, max HP, bold nature with a little bit of special attack. So of course, seeing the Megalopony, I know I needed Mega Altaria by a long stretch, because this thing is just too good. And yeah, there are things that counter it, like Ferrothorn, Azumarill kinda can, Dragolge, depends on the type Null, if it's a bulky, special defensive Eviolite. So, it had options. The reason I have Moonblast is because I always forget that Altaria gets Pixelate, and my knowledge of Gen 7 is I thought in the update that Pixelate loses the buff that are given to normal type moves, and it just turns them to Fairy type moves, but I learned it was just reduced from 1.3 to 1.2. So that was on my bad, but again, Moonblast, lower special attack, so it's always a fun time. And of course, Flamethrower coverage for the Ferrothorn, because that thing can be annoying, and he's not going to stay in on a Salazzle, so ultimately why. Next up, oh, that's not the right button. Wow. Next up, an interesting set here. So Rocky MZ Celesteela, Autotomize with Heavy Slam, Stone Edge, Air Slash, with investment into full HP, pretty much attack with Brave Nature, and a little bit of defense. So with this set, I was trying to kind of be bulky like it was last week, kind of that similar vein of a bulky offensive sweeper, because I would love to run speed, but I really need bulk in this thing for the Megalops of the world, and Azumarill, and the fun stuff in that nature, because those are just who I see as threats. And then, because Zapdos is an arch nemesis, and I hate it to the grave, really the only thing that can give me nice rock coverage is the Celesteal with Rock EMZ. And I know if it's a little bit of bulky Zapdos and not a lot of speed, or if I can catch it on a switch if he thinks I'm going to go for a certain move, like a Heavy Slam on like the Megalop or something, and he just switches out into Zapdos, I can nuke it with a Stone Edge Rock EMZ and not miss. That's the goal of this thing, and with a lot of HP and a lot of attack, this thing can really sweep through come late game. And especially with Autotomize, I can outspeed a lot of things. Wow, I'm really bad at clicking today, as you can see. Next up we have Chestnut with Synthesis, Drain Punch, Toxic Spikes, and kind of the same set as Altaria, max defense, max HP, a little bit of attack. So this thing's supposed to be a physical wall for Heracross, Megalop, as I've been saying Megalopony a lot. And really that's kind of it, Azumarill, because I think I might be able to live with Play Rough. I forgot the calc. And so I didn't do Seed Bomb. I did Drain Punch over Seed Bomb because Seed Bomb really only hits Azumarill, but he could be Sap Zipper, and I'm not really kind of play around with Sap Zipper. And that's really the best thing that Seed Bomb hits. Drain Punch kind of gets coverage, and at least I heal up things. But this thing is mostly used for the spikes and the toxic aspect, because he really doesn't have the best hazard removal. Really only has War Turtle for Rapid Spin and Zapdos for Defog. So if I can just get Zapdos out of the way, I can just set up spikes and whittle down the Megalopony, the Ferrothorn, the Dragolge if he so happens to bring that, and I can just do away with it and bring in some of the other monsters, just clean up and sweep. So this thing's huge just to throw up Toxics and throw up Spikes while being able to tank a decent amount of hits. Next up, pretty standard Scarf Heliolisk. Has enough speed. Oh, see, the 338 is back. And I forget what that's supposed to be for, and that's really bad. It is, I think it might be to... It's not Megalopony. I can tell you that for a fact because Megalopony is fast as hell. And it's not for Zapdos because it gets 328 as its max. Maybe I'm stupid and I thought 338. I don't know. Oh, it might have been actually... Nope, it's for Delphox. It's for Scarf Delphox. Wow, that was sad. That took a lot. Anyway, now that I figured out why I have Speed and Crobat and Heliolisk, it's for max speed. Delphox. Go me. So... Thunderbolt, U-Turn, Toxic Focus Blast. I originally had Hyper Voice on this just for stab purposes, but I thought that Toxic was going to be a lot more useful because, you know, from the Altaria, which is the other thing that has... No, oh, I originally had Toxic on Altaria, but for Chestnut, which has Toxic, there can be things that he's going to try to get Toxic on, and I'm going to get a switch out, and then Ferrothorn comes in, and just a bunch of sad times. So, with this thing I can get a nice priority, pretty fast, Toxic, almost priority-esque, Toxic off on a lot of these things, and also be able to U-turn out, if I'm in the wrong situation, because he does have that Palossand, which is a little, I don't like, and I'd rather just run U-turn just to be safe as possible. Focus Blast, of course, is for the Megalopony and Ferrothorn, because that'll do more. Max special attack is going to do a lot, and that little bit of HP could help in a certain scenario, especially if he somehow gets rocks up. Finally, we have a fun set. I originally was going to run double Scarfs in Heliolisk and Salazzle, but I realized that I needed more coverage and more ability to switch up moves with Salazzle. So we have Flame Charge Salazzle with Expert Belt. With Fire Blast Sludge Wave, this had Dragon Claw because I poured it over from my laptop, and it should be Dragon Pulse. And Flame Charge. So, what this thing is supposed to do is supposed to bluff the Scarf, ultimately. Because he thinks that, he probably is going to assume that with Salazzle, it's going to be Scarf because of the makeup of his team, and he's going to prep for that. So, why not be able to switch up moves? So with Flame Charge, I can get up to the speed that it would have me at with a Scarf, and be able to just use Fire Blast, Sludge Wave, Dragon Pulse. That was pretty self-explanatory, and most of you already knew what Flame Charge does. Anyway, you have the 338 again, max special attack. Wish I could have gone Modest, but what are you gonna do? I don't know why that's for an attack. Haha. And I think I might have, well, something like that. I don't know what happened in this port. And yeah, that's pretty much it. The HP is kind of similar to Helios. It's gonna bulk it out just a tiny bit. And Expert Belt's gonna bluff the Scarf and be able to do pretty much close to damage if I was Life Orb, which I just love using Expert Belt. So that's pretty much the team. I have a more bulky offensive approach to this because his team's so threatening that I need to take it one play at a time. So with that being said, let's hop into the match and I'll see you guys in a minute. And we're back. So looking at this team, I am jaw-dropped because I didn't expect this whatsoever. This is literally my worst case scenario when I hopped into this match first, because seeing the Palossand, the Vanillix, and the Dragoach there, I didn't prep enough for those. So I am like panicking in this moment. So let's just see what happens, honestly. So I'm going to lead off with Altaria because I think it kind of can check most of the things and bulk out most of the mons here besides like Dragoach. So we're going to start. He goes up to Lop. Makes sense. It's the smart play. And we're both just going to get Megas off here, and he's going to go for a Fake Out. So this Fake Out damage doesn't do that much, so he probably knows I'm physically defensive now. And I know how much I can take. So he's going to go after the Dragoach as I just go for a safe Moonblast. And this shows me that he is definitely Assault Vest by that amount. So I'm going to go in the safe play of Celesteela, Sludge Wave. Like, we're pretty standard start of a game. So here's kind of, I don't want to call it a misplay because it's really not. It's more of a shoulda, coulda, woulda situation. Because as I said in my team builder, I made this thing Rocky MZ for the time of predicting Zapdos to come in and just nuking it before it can do havoc on my team. And I would have been smart to do it, but again, as you can see, it's turn 4. Would I really want to blow Rocky MZ now and say he goes into Palossand, he goes into Megalop, he goes into Ferrothorn? I lose my Rocky MZ and I have to pray to the gods of RNG that somehow I can hit a Rock Stone Edge. Wow, that was bad. So I really didn't want to play that game. I thought Heavy Slam was the best play available, honestly. And just 28%, which shows me it's a little more offensive. So he reveals Leftovers, and now I'm going to go for the Rocky MZ, which wasn't my smartest thing, because I could have gone to whatever and eat it up, Mega Altaria, but we just go for the Rocky MZ and get this thing out of the way, because I don't want to be dealing with an electric type. So he goes into Vanillix, and I'm like, oh, right, okay, this thing. Goes for Blizzard, and at this moment, it hit me. I don't have Ice Resist. They don't exist on my team. Even Slowbro would be the closest, but they don't exist. So this is a bad moment. It's like Weavile Part 2, but even scarier because Blizzard. And I was not prepared for this because I didn't think he'd bring it, which shame on me on that one. So we're kind of in a predicament here. So I'm gonna just go out to excuse me while I die inside, my Salazzle, because I checked its speed, and I can definitely outspeed this thing normally. However, he thinks I'm Scarf, so he's going to switch out. Fire for Fire Blast, 15% is not bad at all. So this kind of reveals some information. Hail damage decreases, so that can help out for the future. So I go into Crobat here because I realize I can't do anything. And yeah, Draco just like destroys me. And sadly, as I checked as in my team builder, I was a minus special defense nature on Crobat. So he really had no chance in this world, which sucks, because I could have fired off a Brave Bird or roosted up on the switch if he got scared, and it would have been so much easier if that happened. So Crobat goes down, and I am way behind the 8-ball. So I gotta go into Salazzle here, bluff that I'm like scarfed or something with Dragon Pulse to really do damage. And he goes out into this thing, which also is revealed to be bulky, and I'm like, great, this is amazing. So I go in the Chestnut, even though I don't have a grass move, this is my chance to set up spikes. This is the one time I'm going to have a chance to set up spikes here. And I need to get it up to bring myself back into this game. He reveals to only have Earth Power, probably has Shadow Ball as well, but because of Bulletproof, kind of helps out in this scenario. So I'm going to synthesis up here after getting 2 layers of spikes. I really don't need the third, so I'm just going to fire off a Toxic after this, because it's just the smartest play. And I get it on the Vanilluxe, which is huge, because that means this thing that's wrecking my entire team is on a timer. So I stay in because it's the really only thing I can allow to. It's done its job, it's Toxic and Spiked. Thought I was Assault Vest also in the moment, but I remember Rocky Helmet. Assault Vest was the last week. So Toxic whittles this thing down. I'm going to go into Salazzle again. Sadly, Rocks are here to stay now that Crobat's gone. And I'm going to fire off a Fire Blast because it's my smartest play here. Does massive damage, and Hail is going to finish this thing off, thank the Lord. Now this thing's going to come in, and I'm praying, because I can calc, that Dragon Pulse kills, and it does. Because of that, Expert Belt most likely now, he knows I'm not Scarf, which is definitely going to lead Lopunny to come in this moment. So, I have a couple plays here. As you see, I chose this play. So, well, actually, I did only have one play, because anything else would have died to this thing, because I knew that this is my defensive wall. So, 37%, which is nice. So this shows that I can pretty much live hits if I can Roost Up, which he doesn't just kill me, because I guess return was a roll. So I'm just going to get a nice Roost Up, because he can't risk it. So I'm just going to now just fire off Flamethrowers here. He goes for Iron Head, because this really doesn't have any more purpose. I'm just going to play a little Roost Battle to get as much HP as possible up. And I don't want this thing to recover enough leftover health that Flamethrower does not one-shot it from here. So I know now I need to go for the Flamethrower and get this thing out of my sight. So here's a big play. He's going to bring back in the Vanilluxe. So I have a couple options here. Really 3. I can stay in with Altaria, come in with Salazzle, because I don't think this thing is Scarfed at this point. I can fire off a Fire Blast, sack it off to Lopunny, and then have Heliolisk, and just have Heliolisk who pray to Jesus Christ above that a Focus Blast can kill and hit, or Thunderbolt can just finish up the job. Second option, I don't sack this thing here, I sack off Heliolisk. I send in Salazzle, Fire Blast this thing, and because I know I can tank hits to hell and back with Altaria and Lopunny, and just one-shot it with Moonblast, I can win this game. So all are pretty much good options here. Or sack off Salazzle, bring in Heliolisk, Thunderbolt, and just play kind of the same scenario. So in this case, which I thought was the best play, I sack off Heliolisk. Because even though this is my Scarfer and could have outsped Lopunny, which I kind of regret losing, Salazzle was the better choice here, I think. So I'm gonna just fire off the Fire Blast, and this is when I realized he's not Scarfed, thank God, and this thing's dead. So when it's a 2v1, I just need to go against Mega Lopunny in the Hail. And so he's going to take spike damage. He's at 68%. I'm so close. So he's going to fake out me and just wreck me. So here is the game, ultimately. I know I can one-shot with Moonblast. I have Altaria. I can live a return. I can live an Ice Punch from here. I win this game. However, I go for a Roost to play the game because just in case something happens, I can't risk it. So I'm going to go for a Roost here. He goes for the Ice Punch. I live it heavily, and when I say I almost got a noise complaint in my dorm room when this happened, I mean it. Yeah, I almost threw things across my entire dorm room and out the window, even though they're like suicide prevention windows, so you really can't pop the screen out. But you know, what are you gonna do? Yeah, this kind of killed me inside. And so I'm hoping to the RNG gods above that I can thaw out just right now and roost, and we can win this game still. And, and as you can see, it does not happen, and he's gonna ice punch me again, and he's going to win this game. Anyway, it was a fantastic game, my antics aside. It was a great game. I mean, I thought I was done. I managed to come back with Salazzle, and then he had to go for Ice Punch. He had to get a crit or a freeze. Ice Punch was the best way to get a crit or a freeze because you have the 2 chances instead of return. So I understand he had to win the game and go for the win. I can't blame him for that. We talked after the match. We're all good. I was fuming because I was literally so close to a 2-0 after 2 weeks. And he admitted that, like, of course, that I should have won that game. But it's the game we play. What are you gonna do? But yeah, I think after the game I was like, oh, I should have probably kept Heliolisk around. Sacked off Salazzle, gone to Heliolisk, and just gone for the Focus Blast stuff. Or sacked off Mega Alt and done whatever. But in the moment, I made the play I should have made. I don't regret that. I think there were other ways I could have done it. But again, it's relying on Focus Miss. Focus Miss or a wall that's designated for that Mon. I don't know. I think after the freeze, I would think I should have gone to the whole Heliolisk Delio and gone in and sacked Altaria in that moment, gone into Salazzle, Fire Blast, sacked it off, and then just preyed on the Heliolisk Focus Blast. That's how I could have won it. But you know, hindsight's 50-50. Getting an Ice Punch freeze is like a rarity and like never happens. So I can't really, like, I don't know. It sucks. It hurts a lot. But again, at least it's not a 7-week season like it was back when I was here, and it's 10 weeks now. So I have a lot of time to recoup. 8 games left in the season. I could go off on an 8-2 tear right now after this game. But with that being said, I hope you enjoyed the match. It was a pretty good match, I would say. I think one of the best of the season, definitely. If it didn't come down to that freeze at the end. You know, what are you gonna do? But with that being said, next week, for week 3, we play Evader. There we go. I had to think. That was my thinking face. We play Evader next week. I'm kind of scared for that match, especially coming off of this. But let's hope we can pull out a winning. Just get on a winning streak from here to make it to the playoffs for the first time. Links in the description for everyone. And that's all I have. Yeah, so I will see everyone next week for week 3 of the GPC. Thank you guys for watching.